Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of No Big Deal Podcast, aka No Big Deal TV. This is your boy, Chef Marv. No lie, I am that guy. And I got my guy is back, Mr. General Woody here. What's going on, my man?
Ain't nothing. Peace, peace, peace to the gods. Peace,
Yes,
peace.
sir. What's the mathematics for today, man?
Oh man, I'm so lost. What is today? The first, man. That's
Day the
knowledge.
first.
Today's
I'm lost too, man. It's been a minute. It's been a minute, bro. But
um,
it's all good, though. We'll get back into that, though.
yeah.
Let's talk.
Knowledge,
What's
you
up?
know, so you don't fall off the edge. You know what I'm saying? Knowledge is also symbolic to being the sun, being the man. Knowledge is like I said, it's information that you gather through your experiences, through being what's taught to you, whether it's orally, experiences, physical experiences, your perspective on what you gather as you travel through the world and society. So that's what knowledge is. Peace.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate you breaking that down for us, man. I wanted to talk about our culture, man, our Black culture, man. How do you feel about it today as of 2025? Like, how do you feel is like about it? Is it died or has it been dead already?
I,
Like, let
I,
me ask a proper question. I'm sorry. How are social, gender, family, and individual roles defined in the African American community right now?
how's the gender roles?
How are social, gender, family, and individual roles defined in like African American community right now?
Hmm. How's it defined?
Yeah.
Hmm. I want to say, oh man, I don't want to say define. I want to say our roles, our social roles
Yeah.
has been diluted, tampered with.
That's a good way to put it.
You know what I'm saying? It's been diluted and tampered with, meaning that we allowed a lot of things that I want to say infiltrated. I want to say we allowed a lot of things. We accepted a lot of things because we are sociable people, creatures. You know what I'm saying? And when it came down to, comes down to our culture, we accepted a lot of people because we want the world to be in its right perspective. And socially, we just brung in a lot of other people, issues, problems, lack of knowledge, information, wisdom, understanding. And now it has affected us in a way that we are so more trying to correct everybody else's social economic not economic social realm and not really dealing with our own. And I think that's what I see as far as defining it socially. Gender again has been infiltrated, whereas we're going through gender wars
Yeah.
in community.
Yes.
Um, we're going through a gender crisis, identity crisis,
Yes. Yes. Amen. Yeah.
and that could come. The effects of that or the cause of that can come into many ways, whether it's uh, what you see on TV, what you hear in the music, even worse, what you get into your foods, what's being given to you in your foods, what's
Mhm.
as far as going to the doctors and dealing with pharmaceutical and dealing with that. You're taking certain pills and stuff like that, not knowing what you're taking, thinking it's for this, and it could be something that's just tampering with your hormones and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And when you're dealing with these people, when you're dealing with the divine evil, they know us very well. They use us for specimens. You know what I mean? Like we're used as specimens to figure out some type of ways and all different ways to build up the how can I say it? Build up that realm of knowing how to give someone a pill that'll affect them psychologically.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And,
Right.
and right there will definitely tap in with you spiritually. You know what I'm saying? So whether it's church, you know what I'm saying, the messages that you get in church now, like it's so And that's just not to condemn churches, but the information that we're being given in the churches is not up to date.
No, it's not. And it's like even the churches nowadays is like completely out of date, like you just said. And it's like I'm like, what? This is why I'm like, really? This is what's going on now?
It's, it's,
And
it's a whole lot. So, it's just a lot of causes, a lot of effects that we're dealing with as a people. You know what I'm
that's
saying? Dealing with as a people and politics itself. You know what I'm saying? The things that's going on in politics.
that's a huge role nowadays of politics and that.
Yeah, politics has now become the forefront more so than religion.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? You see more people promoting and pushing politics now, more so ever than before than they actually pushing religion or spirituality or knowledge of self or those type of institutions that we created in order for us to get the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Like today's knowledge. So to get that knowledge in order for us to understand or see what was going on. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that's how I see that. That's how I see that.
So, do you feel like the lack of Black history being taught in schools on our youngins nowadays? Like,
Um,
because I had a youngin who didn't even know who Martin Luther King was. He's like, we're off school because of this guy named Martin Luther King, and I was like, yep. And it kind of like threw me off. I'm like, so I feel like the lack of Black history being taught in these schools nowadays is just crazy.
I think I think me personally, we shouldn't rely on the schools to teach our children our history.
Shit said the same thing.
School system is an indoctrination camp.
Yeah,
They teach you about Martin Luther King, but they're not going to teach you about Martin Luther King.
yeah, they'll just speak to the name. That's it. They're not gonna give you the actual facts of Martin Luther King or none of the or Black
Right.
heroes and none of that stuff like that.
They're going to skim over and they're going to highlight. They're going to make it entertaining about Martin Luther King. They're going
Exactly.
to entertaining about Malcolm X. You know what I'm saying? They're going to make it entertaining about Edward Cleaver or the Black Panthers or Huey P. Bobby Seals. They're going to make it entertaining, but they're not going to really teach you and educate you. You know what I'm saying? They're going to train.
Mhm.
They want you to think and perceive who these people are. You know what I'm saying? So
True.
I would say we don't need to rely on the school systems to give us and educate us on us. We know who we are and we know who our ancestors is. We know who our forefathers. We know who our leaders were back then. When we allowed ourselves to go to the school system to teach our children,
Yeah,
I think that was a downfall.
it was most definitely. That's why when you speak about the mentorships, what you just told me before we started recording, we need more like that, especially
Right.
in our communities we grew up in. And
Right.
like where I'm at right now, more in the South, we just need more. We got to get involved as a community, as a culture. We got to get involved with our youngest nowadays because, like, y'all not gonna learn off this social media.
No.
I feel like we got to sit them down as one without the tablet, without this, without that, and just straight talk to them, hammer it in their head, whatever we got to do.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel. Like we all got to get involved. That's how I feel like
And
what you
that's
said a few weeks ago about the culture dying, that no more Sunday dinners is not being had nowadays. And that's where Big Mama, Nana, wherever you called your grandma over the house, talking, not being on cell phones, y'all actually talking. How was your week? You get a history lesson, you get good food, you get good conversations, you actually getting taught some responsibility, man. We need more of that.
yeah. And that's why I say the culture is dying, or if not dead. It's sort of like I said that hip hop is dead.
Hip hop is dead.
You know what I'm saying? So he's speaking on the cultural aspect of things.
Yeah.
So say that our culture is dead, or if not, dying, or if not dead, is because of the things that we did to keep us together and keep us unified has been taken away. So I use Sunday dinner as an example.
That was a good example too. Shout out to that.
We don't do Sunday dinners no more.
Mm.
And Sunday dinners, like you said, was for us to sit down at the table. Big Mama cooking, she's in there. You wake up, you wake up on Sunday, you smell the aroma, just the smell.
Exactly.
You hear the music playing, you getting up, you vibing, all that love, that energy.
Right.
You hear the calls. Despite what you did on Friday when you was bad in school and got
Mm-hmm. That all went away.
all that went away because Sunday you woke up to the family and loving and everybody. Then you prepare yourself for the following day and you move on from there. But it's no more. What you have now is what actually came in and helped destroy the Sunday dinner or the cooking aspect of things is fast food restaurants.
DoorDash. DoorDash is definitely taking over.
Yeah, y'all got DoorDash back when I seen them coming up in the 80s because now what they did was they threw McDonald's. Let's use McDonald's for an example. They
Yeah.
threw McDonald's on TV. So when we looked at TV, all we seen was McDonald's, the clown, everything was happy
Yeah.
meal with the gift in it. So now when you start seeing these stores in your community, psychologically, guess what you're going to want to do? You want to go to the store. So now what it is, Mama Love is saying, all right, I want McDonald's. I want McDonald's.
Right. That's true.
Now you addicted to a food, you think it's saying that's not cooked. It's not homegrown. It's no love in it. You know what I'm saying? And we got addicted to that. We got addicted to fast foods. We got addicted to what we call the microwave.
Exactly. Which is
Microwave is another thing that destroyed technology, destroyed us culturally. When they put microwaves in, now we're not cooking foods, we heating foods up real fast. You
yeah.
think, boom, when we getting popcorn, we ain't, you know what I'm saying? We
That's
everything,
right. That's right. You're right.
you know what I'm saying? So that there has destroyed the culture. Technology. Like when you get your plate now, it started when we was young, we would get our plates, we would fix our plate and then go in our rooms.
Which was forbidden on Sundays back when I grew up.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of things that we allow inside the homes. Like back in the days, it would usually be like one or two TVs in the home,
Yeah.
floor model TV or whatever, and you only can watch the TV at a certain time. You know what I'm saying? Back in the days, TVs used to cut off around 12,
I think my aunt said about 11 something.
11, yeah. Come on, all you hear is
Yeah, I remember she brought that up when I talked to her not too long ago. Shout out to my auntie Diamond, man. Yeah, she told me all about that.
yeah.
But you absolutely right, Woody. It's like I think nowadays it depends on the household, how the household is being ran, because even myself, Sundays is our day. You know, we all gonna sit down, chill. And then growing up, we had that one fast food day. It was either Thursday or Friday, or maybe even a Saturday. It just depended on how my mom felt. But you always get the one fast food day, and she will cook like the rest of the day.
Right.
Rest of the week. She'll cook on a Monday. But mama, and shout out to my mom for trying to keep that alive with us, but it was just too many of us. We all got grown, and I get it that. And even like her, as she got older, my mom had little health problems. So it would be some days where she was tired. My dad would step in. But shout out to both of them for trying to keep that culture. And that's why I'm like, they trying to like, hey, we gonna sit down. This is our only time to be together. We all gone during the day.
Right.
So let's sit down, what y'all learn today, what y'all do today. Like talk. There was no cell phones. Cell phones was not forbidden. And this is what my mom did. This was funny. Check your cell phones in, put them in the bucket. You'll get them when we done, when you clean up and everything else. So but Sundays was like everybody day. Like everybody meet at grandma's house or whoever. Your cousin, I'm talking about cousins. It will always be like 100+ people at grandma's house.
Yeah.
All them 100 people that was there, when it's dinner time, talk to each other.
Everybody's
looking at TV. The TV went on. We didn't watch no Sunday night games until the food was done. So, and shout out to you for saying that. It depends on your household now. Yeah. And I met a few families. I met a black family like a couple streets over, and I was talking to him. And after I saw you live, he was like, and he pretty much told me this, like, yeah, it just depends on your household. He says the weekend is our time. and
Mm-hmm.
that's Saturday and Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I went over there to cook for him. I'm like, damn. And I was like, yeah, Saturdays and Sundays, our time. Now, 5 days a week, I get we all busy. We got school. And he was like, technology gonna take over this and that, but Saturdays and Sundays are our day.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna sit down Saturday, we'll chill, maybe order out, or I'll have you come cook something. But Sundays is most definitely, and shout out to him for keeping that culture alive as well in his house. But like you, it's all what you just said. It depends on your household and ain't
Yeah.
gonna be none of that going to your room type deal. And I get it.
No, he's right about Saturdays, Sundays, because every Saturday, you know, Fridays come around, my mom's work. Friday come around,
Yeah.
she go out, she go party or whatever case may be.
Right.
But down or whatever. Shout out to my mom. She passed away, but this is what I
It's the moms.
Friday, she go her sisters, her friends,
Mhm.
go out do their thing or whatever, right?
Right.
Coming off work or whatever case may be. So they want to hang out because they got the weekend.
Right.
Saturday morning, my mom's cleanup day.
Mm-hmm.
She wakes up early after partying and all that. She'll wake up early, nothing but Motown music.
Mm-hmm.
Little kid, she don't even wake me up. I get up, mom's moving around, she cleaning.
Yeah. You knew. You already knew.
Bathrooms, everything is clean.
Mm-hmm.
I jump in. Now she's, you know, yo, clean this, clean that. We talking, vibing. I see my mom's dancing, smiling, having fun, partying. You know what I mean? Like she's in
Yeah. To pick it up from last night, most definitely.
so she's in her groove or whatever case may be. Boom, boom, boom. Saturday, the rest of the Saturday is just chill day. You know what I mean? Usually I start off watching
The cartoons, yeah.
cartoons. I start off watching Saturday cartoons. You know, every cartoon. So we get up, watch Saturday night cartoons. If I'm not mistaken, Soul Train came on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. See,
And
yeah,
so,
I'm different. I think you got a few years on me, but yeah, I'm not quite sure when Soul Train came out.
you know what I mean? Soul Train is a big thing in the community for us. Like
Yes, it was.
that's a big thing. So we watch it. Say, what's the name? As I got older, we was watching Chinese flicks. Our Chinese, flicks come
Oh yeah,
on Saturday. But Soul Train came on Saturday, so we watching Soul Train, whatever. Everybody sitting down. You got in the living room, couches, chairs, family.
yeah.
Sit down. We watching Soul Train because she got everything prepared. Everything is cleaned up.
Mm-hmm.
Cleaned up on Saturday. Everything. She went out, did what she did, have her fun or whatever with her peers and all that. The kids be running around in and out of the house having
Oh yeah.
block. All the kids is out on the block. We playing sports, football, baseball, skelly. That's culture.
That's true.
Our culture. We having fun.
Do you remember the show? They like make a show about Soul Train a few years ago on BET? Did they make some about like Don Cornelius or something like that?
They did. Soul Food. You talking about Soul Food?
No, it was a show about Cornelius. It was called Soul Train. It was a show on BT. So somebody made a hot take about that, and I kind of agree with it. They said once Soul Train was over with, the households in black communities kind of died.
Yeah.
And I kind of like, yeah. And my dad was like, that's kind of true.
Yeah.
Because like he said the same thing you said Saturday mornings, or I think Saturday mornings or Friday. He said one of them days it came on.
Soul Train. Everybody came in to watch Soul Train.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you another one when the Cosby Show, Different World, all of those start. Even Good Times. These are the movies that we seen that signified us, that we seen us on TV.
Yes.
Niggas saying even Different Strokes. We seen these. Now you don't see no more of that. You see a bunch of
weird shit.
See now is everybody addicted to Love and Hip Hop and these reality. When reality TV shows started kicking in, it started like with MTV. When they started doing stuff like behind the scenes, showing behind the scenes things, and they seen how people attracted to the behind the scenes because there you get to see your artists that you really don't see or that you're not accustomed to, can't get to because, years later, in 2000, when technology, now it becomes these apps and all that, these platforms. Now your artist or your favorite artist or actor or whatever now becomes accessible to you because of the social media thing. You know what I'm saying? They on your cell phone, you get to see them. So that's where that's where that came from. But before then, it started with like with MTV behind the scenes when they even when what's that one on MTV? MTV Cribs.
Yeah, MTV Cribs. Yeah, that.
You know what I'm saying? MTV. You know what's crazy? It brings me to Redman because Redman
Oh, he kept it real. That was his
kept
real
it real.
house.
He kept it real. He showed
Yeah.
you the real. He didn't want to show you these fake
Yeah,
cars and all this what's the name and the chandelier. He said, "Oh, that's fake. That's staged."
exactly. That's why he was like, "That's my no." That was his. He's like, that was his real house.
Right. That was his real house. So what it is that when we got caught into that as audience or consumers, we started wanting to be or see that more so, and it just
Right.
away from actually watching a different world and all that.
Yeah.
Um, Even Martin Lawrence was one of the things. Like all these things that we seen in Def Comedy Jam, that's what was bringing us together.
And that was the last of it. Once all that gone, it's like,
Once that started exactly, but they see what they do is the machine. What I say is culture versus corporation.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So once the corporation starts to see, they sit down in rooms and figure out how to sell you a product.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? They have meetings about how to sell this product to black people in America because they're the most they're the biggest consumers of any product. How do we do this? You know what I'm saying? So they
yeah.
figure things to sell us or infiltrate or put into our community and put it into our thought process. So now we attracted to that.
Which
Now
is
we,
interesting that you brought that up.
yeah.
It's
So
like, who
yo,
do you have on that board that probably don't have nothing to do with a real black culture? You probably brought somebody black in who grew up in the suburbs, who don't know what it's like to grow up in the hood like we did. It's all bad. It's all messed up now.
yeah,
Because, like you said, with these shows nowadays, I was like, I don't even want to watch TV.
yeah.
It's
So
like it's crazy.
it's all about see when you kill the culture, you kill the morale, you kill the drive, you kill the inspiration, you kill everything.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? It's literally taking away something that you strive to get to. From us coming out of a state of darkness, meaning that we came out of slavery,
Yeah.
we stripped of our identity, our culture, our spirituality, our religions, whatever. We stripped of all of that. So
Yeah.
now it's for them to dump any type of information into that mind.
Right.
You dump that information into that mind now becomes docile. That mind now becomes controlled.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Rizza Islam said something that was very keen to me too. That he says master's degree. Master's
Degree.
degree.
Yeah.
You have to be indoctrinated into getting that master's degree.
Which is crazy.
Test you off this master's degree to see if your black mind is actually a European mind or my mind. I need you to think like I am. So we strive to go to college to get these degrees, and these degrees is only a certificate of indoctrination.
Yeah. It's just a piece of paper.
It's just a piece of paper for them to control you, to know that if I send this mind over here, whether this mind black, purple, green, orange, or whatever, it's
Hmm.
mind that's controlling the body. I don't care about the complexion of the body. I just care about the mind, and I need this mind to further push my endeavors.
Exactly.
That's what indoctrination is about.
So
That's
it's
all.
not worth it at the end of the day. Like I tell people all the time. If you got an education, I salute you, but it's still at the end of the day, it's not. It's
Yeah,
not your destiny. It's not in your control. It's,
right.
yeah.
Now you if you like you have people that are very well educated but not culturally sound,
Mhm.
and that's where they find themselves um in the derogatory realm of being called a coon or you know what I mean or a sambo.
Yeah.
because you out here portraying to be like these people. You changing your dialect, you changing your swag, all of these things in order for you to fit into a society that you know that you're not, in order to achieve goals as far as monetary or success or whatever it is that you're striving. You want to fit into a culture or fit into a mind state. That's not you.
Mm.
You have social conflicts with in your own community with people because just because an individual that's on a street corner and you have a person that's in the board meeting, that don't mean that these two individuals are not intelligent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you have individuals that are, even though they're doing something illegal, they are very intelligent minds in order to survive in that condition that they're in. You know what I'm saying? But because you have a master's degree, you culturally, you know what I'm saying? You mentally think that
Right though, yes, man. True, true.
you think it's. So I tell people all the time, I'm like, listen, you can't tell me nothing about. I'm a living proof and understanding of this. I show and prove through my reality. I said, yo, I said, you got a degree? I said, yeah. Well, I got a GED. So how am I in the same position that you in, and you got a degree?
That's what I've been
I
trying to tell him.
prison. I did
Yeah,
14 years in prison. You was out in society and did 5, 10 years in a different prison, but you don't understand that it's a prison because they made you think that you in a system. You know what I'm saying? That is
exactly. They don't. It's all about learning. It's like what you can learn. And I tell people all the time, as a chef, I don't need a piece of paper to tell me that I can cook and put a plate presentation together. I don't need that.
exactly.
You know what I mean? I was like, what do I need this for?
Like I tell you, I was like, yo, I was a chef up north.
Exactly. I was like,
That's so the same education you get on how to cook food, dealing with botulism, dealing with you know what I'm saying,
right.
all of that, how to cut. I did that in prison, and I
Exactly.
do in prison without any other distractions. So
I'm telling you right now, boss. I'm gonna tell you this. When I first got into a kitchen and
Mhm.
they told me corporate people is involved, I just shook my head. And when this gentleman, and I'll never forget his name, Jack Rittler, he was
Mhm.
one of the corporate people. He's watching me, right? And I'm like, what's going on? He's like, how you like he just like looking and observing. I was like, if you can cut this tomato perfect, then you could tell me how to do my job. Until then, I suggest you just keep it moving. He
Mhm.
looked at me and laughed and said, "Sir, I cannot cut a tomato. You have a good day," and walked out the kitchen. And I'll just tell people, I'm just honest. I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat anything.
Unapologetically.
Is the people living? Are the people enjoying their food? Yeah, then you have nothing to come in here and micromanage me. And every restaurant I've been to, I say the same thing. I don't
Mhm.
need a piece of paper telling me that I could cook. I know the difference between medium rare, medium well, all that stuff. I know when the chicken is undercooked and not cooked. Trust
Mhm.
me. I don't need recipes. And I told my boss this all the time. He's like, you ain't gonna use a recipe? I'm like, for what? For what? I'm not gonna use a quarter cup. I don't need a quarter cup. I'm
Mhm.
putting my love into this food. My goal each day is to make somebody smile with my food, and I do that. I'm proud to say, Woody, I do that. You know how
Mhm.
many compliments I get when I'm at work? That makes me feel good. I was like, my job's done.
Right.
So,
And you know what? You know what's crazy? People got to understand that these outside minds or people that's outside of our culture
yeah,
will you from your greatness. We are great people, intelligently, physically,
exactly.
every day. You don't. We come out of a place, like I said, we came out of triple stages of darkness. We came out of a dark place with
Yes, we did.
all type of tools that we needed in that condition. But being that we were captured people, we were so-called property of these people.
Right.
We didn't have the understanding of the law and what they was doing. We didn't understand what they was creating. So
Thank you.
you are a property of John. So this is where you get the name John's son.
Exactly.
You're son
No,
of
it's not. That's it.
property of him. So you didn't have no legal rights to seeing I created this invention. and it's mine and I'm patented and it's under my, you didn't have no rights to that. So all the inventions that we created, like we can go through a slew of inventions that we created, but the ones that we couldn't go to the patent and say that, yo, this is my, what's the name, because you was a slave or you were considered three-fourths of a human being. You didn't have
Exactly.
rights to do it. So the inventions that we created, the cotton wheel, like we created these things, but we didn't get claimed it. They claimed it because we was property of them, and that's how they got rich off of that.
Exactly my
The
point.
great thing people created was the patent.
Yeah,
That,
and it's
because
all about who you are too as an individual.
they stole everything that we created.
They did. That's true.
We designed Washington, D.C. The clock, like we can go on a slew of things. So these great minds, we don't need no one to tell us and what we see how to figure it out. We will figure it out like that.
Exactly. That's all.
Really well. Look at, just take sports for instance, basketball. Who's creating all of these moves that Kyrie is doing? Kyrie is creating these moves.
Exactly.
Who's creating these in and outs, crossover, the back behind? Who's James Harden? Who's creating these steps? Dancing, like all of this is from dancing.
Yeah.
Think about that. That's just in our it's in our melanin. It's in us to be creating. Whatever it is, what we do. You think, and we do it exceptionally well. So we don't need a certificate. We don't need someone to come and micromanage over us and tell us on how to or how much water. No, I learned this by watching grandma do it.
Exactly. Grandma ain't never used no recipe.
I've been doing this all my life. I was bred to do this. My family.
Tell her, man.
This is in me. I don't need you to tell me because you have a certificate or you have a organization, so to speak, that you created that we are in, and now you're telling me how to be phenomenal.
Exactly. That's like you trying to define my happiness. And it's not gonna work like that.
Look at these things. I say our culture is either dying or dead because we don't look to ourselves no more.
Exactly. And that's what I'm glad you just said that. I just told my mom that too. Like, I told her that I was thinking about coming back up top. Why would you want to go there? This place is miserable. I'm not a miserable person. You got your opinion on it. It made you unhappy. That's you. And I tell my mom all the time, she's just a kind of a miserable human being. I'm sorry to say that. But one, I'm not going to let a place or person define my misery. I'm happy wherever I go because I'm happy within myself.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what another thing I feel like our culture is missing is because of a certain place. I hear my cousins say, oh, that place made me this. I would have killed somebody if I was still living there. No, you're just a miserable person. Be happy within yourself. You'll be happy anywhere on this earth. I don't care if you go to Egypt, Greece, Los Angeles, California, Texas, wherever. It doesn't matter where you are on this earth. If you're happy within yourself, you're going to make it anywhere.
Self-preservation, but that's what I bring you back to today's mathematics, knowledge.
Knowledge.
You got to know the ledge. You got to know yourself. You got to know thyself.
Exactly.
Know thyself. It doesn't matter where you at. You're going, man, listen, even though I went through my ups and downs in prison, predominantly I was happy. You know why? Because I didn't lose my spirit.
Right. And as long as you got your spirit and your faith, I'm sorry, you're going to be good wherever you go.
I'm walking through prison happy. Of course, I'm getting into my mishaps. Yeah, that's prison. It's there. Everybody's not going to be as cool and happy as I am.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I get it because people are going through. You got people that's fighting life. You got people that's never going home. You got people that family is passing away. All type of things that individuals deal with as an individual comes out in expression. But when you start learning thyself, you know how to control yourself and navigate through that. You know how to navigate through yourself.
Yes.
You say you are your greatest GPS system. You have to travel through yourself. You know when that shoulder hurt, but if you think you could travel and say, yo, I know how to deal with that shoulder pain.
It's all a mental thing.
All a mental thing. like I tell, I'm gonna bring you. I want you to start thinking about this, right?
Yeah.
When you conversating with people, right,
Mm-hmm.
and you ask them, and I want you because you did it. I want you to bear in mind to what I'm saying. When you ask a person, yo, what do you think about this, right?
Right.
And when a person says, well, I feel,
Mm.
think about that. I'm asking you, what do you think about this? Your answer is, well, I feel. We on two different wavelengths.
Yeah.
Because I want to know what you know here. I already know what you feel, but if as men, if we breaking things down based off of our feelings and emotions, it can go up and down. Your logic, your
Yes.
understanding on how to navigate out of a situation. So when I talk to individuals, I always say, yo, what do you think about it? What's your perspective on it? Because I want to know what you think.
Right. That's deep.
And then when you tell me, well, when you lead off with I feel, try to bear mind to that. And when you ask this question, it will help you understand that when someone asks you a question, you will never say I feel again.
That's deep. Shout out to you, man. That's I never knew that.
Right. When you going around and you navigate and you conversating with people, ask them.
Because it's like I always get that. Well, I feel this, I feel that. I'm like, really? And
Because
then they answer be so crazy. I'm like, okay.
just think, because you're telling me what you feel, and it's your emotion, it's your passion,
Right.
it's your love, it's your anger, it's whatever. I get that. We all have that. But I need to
Yes.
do this because I need to know that you're my A like, B like, C like, so that way we know how to logically figure things out when it comes before we allow our emotions get into it. And I had to learn this from an old timer up north, an OG up north. He was like, yo, you keep leading with, remember they said, yo, I wear my heart on my sleeve.
Mm.
Basically making decisions based off of how you feel. I made a decision that got me that my feelings and my traumas and everything that I was going through prior to my incident
Yeah.
was me acting off of my feelings.
Mm.
I had known myself, I would have never committed this crime in this situation in this way.
Right. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm acting off an emotion and I didn't have no control. I didn't have no understanding of what my emotion. I didn't have no emotional intelligence. I didn't have it at that age to tell myself, nah, bro, you bugging out.
Sad. Oh, that's deep.
You know what I'm saying? So because I'm acting off emotion, and this is the reason why I say this is because I have to be mindful of the individuals in the community and the people that I deal with. Because if people deal with things more on their emotions, it can trigger me to join in with their emotions and we collide.
Right. Mm. Mm.
Boxer never gets in the ring off of emotions.
No. No. And that's why when I do podcasts and talk to people, your communication skills have to be on point.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't need you to have your answers prepared already because that makes you a terrible communicator. And I feel like when you're not listening to what I'm saying. Like if I ask you something, you like, well, it's like you have that answer already written. No, I need you to actually sit there, think, what is your perspective? Like you just said, what's your perspective? I don't need that, and that's how I know people are terrible communicators sometimes.
Oh yeah, we
Like
terrible.
when you have your answer prepared and what you want to say already, it's kind of it's kind of like my parents when they argue. It's like they just hollering at each other. Not one's not listening to one another. They have stuff already ready and say stuff that they already want to say, and that's what I learned with my wife as well. That I will never, and I mean ever, want to argue like that. If we disagree on something, well, you want your space, cool. You want to go to another room, cool. But before we lay our heads down, we are going to talk this out like human beings.
There you
You can
go.
say your piece, I'll say my piece, whatever that. All right, love you.
That's it.
that's it. Not gonna bring it up no more unless it's something serious to where, like I said, you know me, I never cheat on you, and I never put my hands on you, and I will never mentally abuse you. And that's another thing with our culture nowadays is the fact that when I hear couples argue, young couples, older couples, y'all trying to really sit here and attack each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like you really want to sit here, you say you love this woman, but you want to hurt her or you want to hurt him, hit him where it hurts, or bring up something that he did.
Not gonna work.
It's not gonna work out. Y'all might as well just go ahead and leave.
Yeah, you might at that point in time, you gotta separate.
Yeah. Some gotta give.
Because like
Yeah.
another thing with today's mathematics, right?
Mhm.
Is knowledge. Knowledge is also to look, listen, and observe.
All the time. All the time.
You gotta look, you gotta listen, and then
Mhm.
observe. That's information that you're taking in.
Exactly.
Someone gets to the point where maybe they don't know themselves or they don't have no control over their emotions and they're leading off of their emotions and they're trying to make sense off of their emotions. You have to be sound on your square to sit back and say, hold on, let me listen to what this individual is saying because I
All
see
about paying attention.
about it.
Like you
And
said.
go quiet. Your quietness, your silence is you just observing this person. And you
Mhm.
have to observe the person that you lay with, that you be with, that you bear children with. You have to observe that person. You have to listen to that person.
Exactly.
Look at that person when that person is not even knowing you looking at them.
And that's me. Yo, this is why I love talking to you, brother, because every time at work, they like, why are you so quiet, Martin? I'm not mad at nobody. I don't know you guys, but I do listen. I do listen and I pay attention. Life is about observing your surroundings.
There
You
you
have
go.
to pay attention because if you walk into the street, you're gonna get hit. You got to look both ways, and
You
that's what I
gotta
do.
look.
I look both ways everywhere I go. I'm gonna look around. I'm gonna turn around. I have to know my surroundings. That way, I can go home in one piece.
Man, you know how many times I cross the street and people are not being observant of their surroundings?
Mm.
And I'm observing, and then this recently, like 2 weeks ago, lady was walking, me, I'm in front of her. I get to the curb, she's coming behind. I look, pay attention, the light changed. A truck is coming. I literally had to grab the lady
Mm.
and pulled her back. You know what she was doing?
On the phone. On the phone.
So what she did was seeing me walking, and her senses was just to follow him because she thinking that I'm in line with traffic, and if I'm walking out in the street,
Yeah.
but she's not really paying attention. She's not really observing. She's not looking. She's in her cell phone, caught in whatever is situation in her device.
Exactly.
But she walked into the street. Uh,
Man.
you have to be aware of every your assignment. That's another sense that people don't even think that they have.
Mm.
It's a sense of awareness.
Mm. So another question.
You got five senses.
Break them
About
down.
sense of awareness. Those five senses gives you a sense of awareness where you be able to aware and dissect. You know when you get those feelings, that's that intuition. You know when you get those things like yo, something is off. It's because of your five senses unconsciously kicked in and said, yo, you in danger.
Yeah. You
Your sense of awareness.
just got to go with it sometimes. Like, so how do you feel? Like, how do social networks of African Americans
Mhm.
influence the behavior and the health? Like, how do you feel about that? Like,
How does social media?
yeah.
How say that again? Say that again. Let me make sure.
Like, so how do social media, like, how does it influence like our behavior and our health? Like, how do you feel like that influences?
Social. Well, like I said, from the mind. Once that social media device got you, now
Mhm.
bought into it. So now it's become a place where you're so entrenched into the social media thing and these devices that your awareness is off, your culture is off. So now your attraction to excitement or your attraction to certain things, if you see a group of people doing something, you get attracted to it and you're going to get influenced by it and you're going to roll with it. I think it's a wrong thing to do, and I feel that it's hurting us so bad that our children think that being a social media influencer is the greatest thing to be.
Mhm.
So it's again that it's just like when I was growing up, we didn't have social media.
Right.
Our community and the things that we seen, the drug dealer, the pimp, the hustler, the womanizer, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was so exciting that that's what influenced us. And we got into a lot of wrong things.
True.
Social media, you can be anything that you want to be on social media.
True, bro.
I could be a stone cold tough guy on social media, but in real life, I'm a timid, antisocial, socially awkward, don't understand the culture of my people, scared, afraid. But behind the screen, I could be anything. And people are influencing each other off of that. So I think that it's definitely a detriment to our community, our mind state, and I feel that it's going to hurt us even more. If not, we already into that pain. See, I may not feel the pain that y'all feel because I come from a different era. I got to see both worlds, the era of no social media to the era of social media.
Right.
So I can balance and I can decipher what is real. I can actually not get caught up in the way a person thinks and feel through social media and say to myself that these people are real. I don't know it's real until I actually see that you show and prove that. You can't show, like, people don't show and prove who they are on social media.
Right.
Meaning, I say that I'm an advocate for these young kids, and teaching them things that and giving them information that I need to give them so they don't go down the path that I go down. When you go on my timeline, I show and prove that because you'll see videos of me talking to children. Then you go on somebody else's page, what you will see is they're arguing about these topics. They're building on these topics, strong topics, but on your social media it doesn't reflect that. I look on your pages, all you got is cute pictures, or you got pictures of money in your hand and cars and all that. It's a contradiction, and people don't see that.
Right.
Contradiction right there on your social media page because it doesn't reflect your reality, doesn't reflect what you're telling me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, when you're a doctor, you're not going to put up, if I'm a doctor, I'm not going to put on my social media pictures of me arguing with women or doing something or taking pills or hanging around. You're not going to see that. You're going to see what reflects me as being a doctor. So are you really a righteous influencer? Are you really that person? Are you doing that? Because what is your works that you're doing? Will it show and prove your works? If I research you, what am I going to find out?
How we win.
You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I think it's in social media, if used properly, social media can take you to the highest heights. It can make you a success story in an instant. Go viral in an instant. You know how it is back in the days when you punch the bully in the eye, it goes viral to every school in Brooklyn.
There you go.
Yo, he knocked out the bully.
What was that? What was it? World Star.
When World Star came in, you go viral On social media, you can go viral in an instant. You know what I'm saying? All it takes is all it takes is a group of people that are easily to be influenced,
Right.
to go there. It's going to pull a whole wave of I hate to say it, uneducated people that will follow anything. Oh, the excitement over there. Let me shoot over there. Oh, the excitement over there. Let me shoot over there. But you can go viral real quick. Look, the girl was it Cooking with Kaya?
Oh Lord, yeah.
She went viral. She ain't do nothing that ain't you niggas saying she ain't do nothing she ain't do nothing that Lil Kim didn't do.
I agree. I agree with that, brother.
But she went viral and she made a success. And then, her reality she didn't utilize that to, you know what, let me start. I got these people following me now.
Mm-hmm.
My goal is to say, I'm going to make sure that these young girls don't have to do this in order to do this. Yo, this is what, now you're doing it. The knowledge, the information, you're giving them little by little to actually train them up or educate them up so they can have high self-esteem on themselves.
Man.
Because thinking about that, we just thinking about being an influencer because we thinking money.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? So like I said, I think it's going the wrong way it's went the wrong way, and I feel that it's going to get worse. I really feel it, or if not, it's already worse.
It's already, yeah.
It's already there. Like I said, is the coach dying, if not already dead? You know what I'm saying? So, but social media is, like I said, man, it's good when it was intended for, to get in contact with your family that you don't see all the time. That's what Facebook was about.
Yeah.
Then we started to entertain each other on certain things. We started to express certain pains and traumas and all of that. So once that came in, it destroyed, you know what I'm saying? All your issues were supposed to stay in the household. It was never supposed to be put in the streets.
That's what it is. I feel like Facebook now is a diary for people who just going through crazy stuff.
And it's not a good thing.
No, it's not.
It's only a 5% of people that have that knowledge of self that are competing with a 10% that's, you know what I'm saying? That is the bloodsuckers of the poor. And when we say poor, we're not talking about economical poor. We're talking about mentally poor.
Mm.
Everything comes from the mental first. It's a mental poor. We're poor mentally. You know what I'm saying? And then you have they're the bloodsuckers of the poor. The poor is the 85%.
Yeah.
The blind, deaf, and dumb. And I don't say this in a derogatory way. I say this on an intelligent way. When we having this conversation, it's 85% of the world is blind, deaf, and dumb. They don't know themselves. People that's going to go out there and teach you and educate you about yourself. And when that starts to grow, then you start to see the change.
That's a deadly situation if you don't know yourself.
That's all it is. That's all that's with the nation. That's all really we want. And we really try to educate is to know thyself.
Exactly.
That's the first thing. Know thyself. Once you know that self, then you can hold yourself accountable for the things that you do. I can't hold you accountable if you don't know. So when people run around doing things and then I ask you, oh, you know yourself, and they can't explain to me or tell me who you about, they tell me some nickname that they picked up in the street, and I ask you who you are, what's your attribute, because there's a difference between attribute and name. And your attribute is something that's given to you that describes your character. When you give me a name, like I have a name, my name is Woodrow. That's a name given to me by my father. But when you ask me my attribute, you know what I mean? It's my character. And this is what your enlightenment is supposed to do. He's supposed to sit back and do the knowledge of you and say, yo, I'm gonna give you this name because I see that this, like you and like let's say if you were a person that's inquisitive, I can give you a name like, yo, inquisitive. because that's describing the character of who you are because you constantly ask and question. You're very inquisitive. And that's where you start your attribute, or after that, you start adding on different qualities in your name, in your attribute, you start adding on to it. Now you inquisitive, such and such, such and such, or you can get rid of the inquisitive and create your own attribute of yourself because you know yourself more than anybody. Even your enlightener doesn't even know you. You know yourself because you're doing the knowledge on yourself. Now you create an identity that you want and that you'll put forth. So when someone asks you who you are, you'll be able to break down who you are.
And I always feel like if you can't break down yourself, if you can't tell me 15 minutes about yourself, then I was like, go sit down and figure it out and get back with it.
Yeah. You want people that know themselves around you because you know yourself.
Exactly.
That's a community.
Yeah, I need to know who I'm dealing with.
You know what I'm saying? So that that's all it is. Like I said, man, all we want is people to know themselves, bro. Just know yourself. And then from there on, you will be able to understand a lot of people because you'll start to see certain qualities that you got in yourself. This person has those qualities. And guess what? You're going to want to see yourself outside of yourself by the person that you're around.
Exactly. So, man, that's why we need more mentors like you, and you inspire me to do more too for the community. That's why I'm gonna get with you on that idea we ran by too. And
Yeah, definitely.
shout out to the mentors who keep our cultures alive and safe by teaching the youngins to know thyself, love yourself, and all this other, man. We just need more like it to keep it alive, and hopefully try our best to save this generation. All we can do is try. That's all we really can do. We got to put in the work to get the work.
That's it.
So
That's
shout
it.
out to you, Woody, man. I love you, brother, man. I appreciate you, man.
Be real.
That's all love at the end of the day. And I look forward to working with you. Matter of fact, yeah, when I get up there, I'm going to get with you, brother, man.
Yeah, bro. I'm here. Definitely we're going to link up, bro.
Most definitely, man. So like, subscribe. We appreciate y'all joining us, man. Much love. We'll be back soon. I promise y'all. We'll be back soon. So
Peace, y'all.
peace, God.
Peace, God.